A broke single dad went to buy diapers with his last dollar, only to have the shopping bags taken off his hands by a lonely CEO who was moved by the dad's struggle. Michael had been up for days. His little girl Lily was sick and wouldn't stop coughing. He didn't want to bother his mother again, so he spent every waking moment he had searching online and at different pharmacies for ways to relieve her cough. When he finally found some drops that seemed like they might help, it was 2 a.m. and the pharmacy was closed. Michael sighed. It wasn't even his fault. Who would have thought cough medicine would be so hard to get, and to think it'd be the one thing that could help his daughter? The next day, Michael went back to the pharmacy, but when he got there, he saw that the medicine was still out of stock. "How much longer is this going to go on?" he muttered. At least there were other things he could buy for Lily. He had a few dollars left in his account, which should be enough to cover a new toy and maybe some candy. When Michael got to the checkout, he put the items on the counter. The total was $4. He looked at the cashier and said, "I don't think I have enough money." The cashier checked the items. "Sir, if you buy these diapers, your total will be $1, she said. Michael felt a lump forming in his throat. He couldn't afford another dollar. He had bills to pay, rent to think about, and food to buy. As the cashier scanned the diapers, Michael heard footsteps behind him. He turned around and saw a man in a suit approaching him. The man asked, "What seems to be the problem?" in a deep voice. Before Michael could say anything, the cashier replied, "This gentleman can't afford these diapers." The man in the suit took a step forward and said, "I'll pay for them." Then he turned to Michael and added, "And you should really get home to your family. You look exhausted." Michael wanted to refuse the offer, but he knew he needed to take care of Lily. "Thank you so much," he said, trying to hold back tears. "I'm sorry to bother you," he added. "Don't mention it," the man said with a smile. "It was no bother at all." The man then paid for the diapers and walked away. Michael picked up the bags and thanked the cashier. He knew that without the stranger's help, he wouldn't be able to take care of his daughter. As he walked past the man again, he tried to thank him once more, but the man stopped him with a wave of his hand. "Don't worry about it. Just go check up on your daughter. She's worth more than all the money in the world." Michael felt a warmth spread through his chest. No one had ever told him something so sweet before. It made him want to do better for Lily. After leaving the store, Michael rushed home to take care of his little girl. The cough medicine worked like magic, and within a few hours, she was feeling much better. As he watched her sleep, Michael thought about the kind stranger who helped him. He wondered if he could ever repay the man's generosity. A few days later, Michael was walking down the street when he heard a commotion. He turned the corner and saw a crowd of people gathered around a building. As he got closer, he recognized the man in the suit from the store. It was the same man who had helped him and his daughter. Curious about what had happened, Michael joined the crowd. To his surprise, he saw the man being escorted out of the building by 2 police officers. One of the officers reached out to steady the man, but he shook him off and continued walking. Despite his efforts to appear calm, Michael could see the fear in the man's eyes. As the man approached Michael, he noticed the surprised look on his face and broke into a weak smile. "Fancy meeting you here, sir," he said. Confused by the situation, Michael replied, "What's going on? Are you okay?" The man hesitated for a moment, then whispered, "I'm afraid they think I stole something big from the company. I don't know how I'm going to prove my innocence." Determined to help the man who had helped him, Michael asked, "What can I do?" The man looked at him gratefully and said, "If you could just tell them I was never alone in the office after work, that would mean a lot." Realizing that this was a simple request, Michael readily agreed and told the officers that the man was never alone in the office after work hours. One of the officers approached Michael and asked, "Are you sure? We need to question everyone who works there." "Yes, I'm sure," Michael replied. "I saw him every day after work. He never stayed late." After hearing Michael's testimony, the officers apologized to the man and escorted him out of the building. As soon as they were outside, the man turned to Michael and said, "Thank you so much. I don't know what I would have done without your help. Come with me. I want to introduce you to my friends. They've been worried sick." Later that evening, Michael sat with the man and his friends at a restaurant. Over dinner, they talked about everything from Michael's daughter to the man's experience with the police. "I never expected such a simple request to cause so much trouble," the man said with a sigh. As the conversation continued, Michael learned that the man's name was David, and he was the CEO of a large company. "I can't believe someone would accuse me of stealing from my own company," David said, shaking his head. "I've worked hard to build this business, and I would never do anything to jeopardize it." Michael nodded in understanding. He knew what it was like to be falsely accused. When the police had questioned him about David, they hadn't believed his story either. It wasn't until Michael had provided concrete evidence that they had accepted the truth. As the dinner came to an end, David turned to Michael and said, "You saved my reputation that day. I can never thank you enough." Michael waved his hand dismissively. "It was no trouble at all. I was happy to help." David leaned forward and said, "I want to do something for you. Is there anything you need? A new car, a house?" Michael smiled. "All I need is some cough medicine for Lily. She has a bad cough and I can't find any." David's eyes lit up. "Of course. Why didn't I think of that before? I know just the thing." He reached for his phone and dialed a number. "Hey, Lisa, it's me. I need you to do me a favor. Can you send over the entire stock of children's cough medicine? I'll have it delivered to my house." "Thanks, Lisa. See you tomorrow." He hung up and turned back to Michael. "There should be plenty of cough medicine in that delivery." Michael's eyes widened in surprise. He had never received such a large order before. "Thank you so much," he said to David. "You really don't have to do this." "Nonsense," David replied. "I want to help you out. Besides, it's not every day that I meet a man who is so selfless. You were willing to help me without any hesitation. The least I can do is return the favor." Michael blushed at the compliment. He had only done what he thought was right, but it felt good to be appreciated. As the weeks went by, Michael became good friends with David. He often went to dinner with him and his friends, and they would talk for hours about everything and nothing. Michael also started to feel comfortable asking David for small favors. If he needed money for groceries or medicine for Lily, he knew that David was always willing to help. In turn, David would often ask Michael for advice on how to deal with problems at work or in his personal life. One day David came to Michael and said, "I'm thinking of starting a foundation to help single parents. I want to call it the Michael Scott Foundation." Michael was taken aback by the offer. "Me? Why would you do that?" David smiled. "Because you deserve it. You are an inspiration to me. You have shown me that it is possible to be kind and selfless, yet strong and determined. I believe that other single parents could benefit from the foundation too." Touched by David's words, Michael replied, "I appreciate the offer, but I don't want anything named after me." David insisted, saying that it would be an honor for Michael and a way to give back to him for all the help he had given. Eventually, Michael agreed, and the Michael Scott Foundation was born. Through the foundation, David provided financial assistance, housing and medical care to single parents in need. He also set up mentorship programs where successful business people like himself mentored single parents who were trying to start their own businesses. As the years went by, Michael watched as the foundation grew and helped countless families. He was proud of what he had accomplished with David, but he never forgot the day they had met. It was a day when a broke single dad had gone to buy diapers and a lonely CEO had come to the rescue. Their paths had crossed for a reason, and together they had created something truly special.